To the latest episode of the Lisa Pezik Show. I am so excited about this one today because I have my good friend, and I cannot wait to tell you how we met. This is a new friendship. My friend Ginger, she's laughing because you wait till I tell you. Ginger Johnson. She is an expert in human connection. We're going to talk about what is networking, what is connecting.
No N-words.
No, there's be no N-words on this podcast today. It's how do we truly get to know people? And Ginger, here's how I met her. So some of y'all know Bo Eason. I'm in his mastermind. I go to his personal story power event. This was, when was that, Ginger? November? No, May.
March.
May, yeah. March or May.
Yeah.
And I'm literally coming out of the bathroom and at the sink, washing my hands. And Bo was so beautiful that he had me up on stage at this event. He highlighted me as one of his testimonials and students that do good work. So the whole event, I was a little bit, not annoyed, but because I was on stage, people kept coming up to me and they kept asking me, free advice, free value. How'd you do this? How'd you do that? Tell me about Bo's mastermind. Tell me about working with Bo. Like I was kind of like this funnel of information that I was kind of expected on their end to just give out to people for free. So I'm going to be honest, when Ginger's like, hey, hi, I'm like, oh, for F's sakes, what is this person?
I'm in the bathroom.
Like, really? Right. Like, I'm trying to hide in the stall. Like, what is happening? Somebody found me. And literally, she was just like, hey, it's so nice to meet you. You know, can I have your business card? Can we connect more? And that was it. She didn't ask me anything. She didn't want to sell me anything. I get home, and probably about a week or two later, in the mail, I get a handwritten letter from her. And of course, her business card so we can stay connected. And I thought, wow, like, that give and take. How often does somebody give first? And B, how often do people send you handwritten letters and cards and notes and something that actually means something? And that made me stop and go, you know what? I do want to get to know her. She did stand out in my mind as someone of integrity and of value. And I was like, I want to get to know her better. Obviously, we got on and we hit it off, and here we are. We're planning an event together, and it's just amazing where life can take you when you choose to connect with someone the right way. And that's what Ginger did. So, Ginger, welcome to my podcast.
Thanks, Lisa. What a treat to be here with everybody, especially you, my dear. Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't even ask for a selfie in the bathroom.
Yeah, right. So you're not going to need coffee after this because, as you can tell, are a little wild.
That's right.
But Ginger, just tell them, like, let's just get right to the goods of, like, what is connecting? Like, how do you see it? What makes it different? How do you do it different? Like, just tell me a bit about why we need to connect with people in that heart-centered, like, real way.
Right. Great question. So when you think about those moments, Lisa, when you felt truly connected to your work, your spouse, your friends, your family, your cats, your home, your wherever it is, you have a sense of wherewithal. You have a footing, so to speak. Connection is creating and developing a tie that binds. In the people realm, it's creating and developing those connections, those relationships of worth, meaning, value, of true intrinsic purpose. Like, oh, I know why I'm connected with this person. I know I'm a better person with them. I can stand alone. Like, that should be the first thing. But I can stand alone. And when I'm with this person, I'm a better person. They positively challenge me with full support. Who am I that person to as well? So when we learn how to create and develop those relationships of purpose, on purpose, with the intent to serve other people, starting with our why first, we conquer the world. That's why it's so important. How many of us are walking around kicking tires or saying, oh, I don't really want to respond to that text, or I don't really want to go to that thing, or like, don't. Stop it, because you're not connected. You're actually disconnected. You want to unconnect. I even have permission slips that give people, like, if that relationship isn't working, first of all, take a look, evaluate it with clear eyes. Clarity is queen, as we know. What is this? And what's going on? And do I want it? Does it serve? Am I serving? Blah, blah, blah. Like, run through those things. And then think, once you've decided that, like, oh, okay, so if it's not that, then what is it? Let's try the next one. When you find those relationships of meaning, like you and I, like, we went deep fast. And it's interesting, you meet, it's beyond a click. That's not just a click, people. There's a difference between feeling a sense of click and feeling a sense of depth. That's what connectivity is. That's why I don't use the N word. I don't use the networking. To me, that's so tips of the waves. But what we really want is that iceberg underneath. What we see on the surface is so small comparatively to what can be, and that's human connection. Less is more. And for the business brains in the room, which you and I both have, you will get to more by focusing on one at a time. Sometimes we're afraid that, oh, that's not enough. Well, it's not a quantity game. It's not even a game. Like, it's a concerted intention and effort and energy. There's so much strategy around it, which is really exciting. Strategy to me doesn't have to be dry or clinical. It does need to be critical. To critique something is to examine it closely. And when we get really clear on those things, like, it's amazing what can happen.
Yeah, like what came up for me when you were talking is like, connecting is all inclusive, but selective.
Yes, there's definitely, right. And I would use an and. I would replace your but with an and. There's some juice there. Like, replace the but with an and. Like, I'm gonna go to this networking thing, but I don't really want to go. Well, you just negated that. So don't go. Examining why you're feeling that way. If you want to connect with people, which I will have rooms, this is so amazing to me. I will have rooms where I'm in there and I'll say, raise your hand if you love to network. And most of the time, no hands go up.
Yeah.
Once in a while, a couple hands will go up, and then that's perfect, because I'll jump in and say, well, what do you think you really want? And what they're actually explaining is connection. They want to connect with people. They are different. Network is a noun. It's a thing. You can build it, but connecting is a verb. That's the action, Jackson, right? Like, that's the juice. We want to connect with one person at a time. One exercise I encourage people to try, and I'm going to try it, I encourage everybody who's listening to this to do this. Set your intention to go somewhere where it makes sense for you to show up. Like, get really clear on that too. Don't just show up to show up, because that's waste. Show up with intention. I'm going to go to this thing because I want to meet one new person. Set the goal. You and I, we can connect with a whole room full of people at the same time. That's actually not the best thing for us to do either. Set the goal for one person. So you walk in the room, there's one other person. What are your odds of connecting? 100%. You walk into a room with 100 people. What are your odds of connecting? It's 100%, because it's all intention. You've got to make the intention. And just like with you, like, set the intention to make the income.
Yeah.
Everything it's that big corner sticky cobweb. It's not one dimensional. So that's a huge part of it. You've got to be intentional. You've got to want to. So in my framework, which you've seen in my book, The Canon, intention is that mindset. That's that second step, with your why first and then the intention.
Yeah, I love that. And I always say to people, it's like, get what you came for. And people look at me like I have like 7 heads when I say you got to get what you came for. Like, it's wrong to say that. And I'm like, is that not the whole reason why we like do things, is to get something, feel something, experience something? Like, if you're going to an event, like you said, find that one person, you got to get what you came for. And I can remember when I host connecting events, I go round table at the very end, and we kind of share, like, what do you need? Because I have that whole like 6th degree of separation where it might not be the the 10, 12 people sitting around here, but maybe somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. And you'd be surprised at how many people, they don't know what they need. Like, they're like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm good.
Yes, because they don't know their why. They're not clear on their why. You got to get super duper crystal clear on your why. Your why is your own vision, your own purpose. An exercise I also do with audience and clients, coaching in rooms, speaking and so forth, is like, close your eyes. Envision yourself. That's what a vision is, people, by the way. You've got to be able to literally imagine yourself in your head with your eyes closed and say, this is what I want my life to look like. This is what I want the scenario to look like. Oh, that feels so good. Like Bo says, comfort is a booby prize. Like that's gold. That's so true. You're going for confidence. So when you can envision yourself, when you know your why and get what you came for, by the way, people, it's good to be selfish starting with yourself first. If your why is service based, if your mindset is there, like, yeah, I want to build I hope you all want to build your lives and your business, because you're building more than your business, right? You're building your life. And so get really clear, because nobody else will do this for you. You have to do this work. And the more you do it, the more, the better, the smoother, the more clear. On the back on my wall, that little tiny piece of paper right there is an org chart that I keep for myself. And I've got my 3 categories of what work I do. That's it. And at first I started doing that, like, oh, this feels so, but there's more. Yeah, there is, yet is it the right more? When people say, do you want it all? You get to decide what all is. So get super duper crystal clear and get what you came for. I love that, Lisa. Get what you came for. Set the intention before you walk in the room, before you get online, before you make the call. And then the clarity makes it, by the way, this makes it better for everybody, right? Nobody wants to try to figure out what the hell you're telling them.
Right.
I remember a conversation with a great woman in Casper, Wyoming, Brooke Kaufman, huge shout out to her. She was open to talking with me, and she gave me this huge gift. She said, Ginger, I'm not clear. Tell me what do you need from me? And it was totally a heart-centered place. I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not want to waste her time. I don't want to waste my time. She's giving me the gift of that lesson to be super clear with what I want. And I wasn't. And then we've actually had this great friendship develop, because she's helped me do that. And now that I'm super clear, I'm so much more able to support her.
Yeah. And you don't know, if you're not clear, if you can't speak clearly about who you are, what you do, what your intentions are, people can't refer to you. People can't, I always think about, Ginger, one thing you do with me. So Ginger, we talk often, and in between our talks, at the end of every email, she always says to me, who can I send your way this week? What kinds of people? And again, like that always, I was like, I don't really know if I really ever thought about that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be really intentional to think about, what do I want right now? What do I need right now? And it's like, you need to know, because when you're clear, that's when those people, I know Brendan, like our mentor, we were in Brendan's mastermind, right? You're in there now. I was in there before, Brendan Bouchard. And he always talks about how it's not that, like, the universe doesn't know what you want. If you're not clear about what you want, you're not going to get it. Like, it's not that the universe is being mean to you, or you're cutting a bad break, or you're not being clear with exactly what you want. When you get clear with what you want, that's when doors can open. So the word that's jumping out right now is like the depth. Like you said that a few times. Like, it's just that depth where you said you have your 3 things. And I know Bo talks about that too, where he says, people say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And he's like, I'm like, put all your flipping eggs in that basket and protect that bad boy, right? Now, you may have more than one, you may have 2 or 3 baskets, right? As do I, as do many of us do. I just love that depth of, like, what are you going to own? Who are you going to be? Who are you? What do you stand for? You know, what are your goods? And let's have a real conversation. I don't even remember if I gave you my business card, because I honestly, like, stopped carrying them because I may or may not. Oh, I did. Okay, I did. Right. It's like
my Rolodex, old school connection.
Like, for a while, I literally stopped bringing business cards, because I was like, I don't want to just superficially hand them out to people that aren't going to do anything with it. Like, I want to have a real conversation. I want to remember you. I don't want to pick up your business card and go, wait a second, who is this person again? Where did even though I write a note, it says HPA, or like, I want to know you. So then I'm not wasting your time. You're not wasting my time. You might be lovely people, but maybe we're just not meant to get to work together. Like, I want to know someone. I don't want to just give out my business card and, like, be done with it.
Yeah, don't waste the paper. You're so right. You can do that. I would encourage people to still carry business cards. They will never die. They are an amazing connection point.
Yes.
And get stingy, get selective, as you use that word, Lisa, about who you give them to. It's totally okay not to. So say you're at a workshop like you and I were, multi-day, or even if it's an afternoon, like hold them close. Don't have them somewhere obvious. Have them on your person. But then decide as the day goes on, like, oh, hey, Lisa, I found a business card. And then you're in that moment, because you don't have to. Just because somebody wants to have your information doesn't mean you have to give it. That's some juice with connection too, right? The friends, followers, likes, fans, those are not true, real connections. Those are support. Those are tech, by the way. That phone, that thing, that's not connection. That's a tool. And we need to keep that in mind. So yes, I love that you are selective about that. I mean, you can, for that matter, you can have a tactic where you have 2 different business cards. You could give one that's the wah, wah, but you don't have to begin with, because that's wasteful. So get really select and tell people, like, why don't, or are you a snob or whatever? First of all, that's a red flag. Don't give that person your contact information, because if they're not willing to meet you where you're at in your connecting zone, then that's okay. Say, thanks very much. That's a go, and the why and the road and the 7 steps of connectivity. And have them ready for the people who you really want to connect with. I know a lot of people these days will take a picture of somebody's business card or enter it right into their phone or something. So, and I think you're really wise. I do the same thing. All the cards I have, both on the deck, and then I have a binder, and because I'm a marketing nerd too. I like to look at cards, what's the jog and who's the right connection for this person and so forth, then make notes on that. So the other side of the juice is when you use something like business cards as a connecting point, as a business mechanism, marketing, leave some space, leave it unslippery paper so people can write on there, which that's deep into the marketing zone. It's super useful. Like, how many black cards are out there? Like, I don't have whiteout. I don't have a gold marker I can write something on. You're like, this is not helpful. It's not a helpful connection point.
Yeah, I love that. So thinking about connecting in the world, and you bring up a good point about your phone and the likes and the followers. And again, I can't tell you how many people, because we build courses and memberships, and people are like, oh my God, well, I have 10,000 people, and I paid for these likes. And I'm like, let me look at you have 1 person that likes your post, 2 people. I'm like, I don't care if you have 10,000 people. You don't have engagement. You don't have a community of people who get you. Or the opposite. People say, I only have 100 people. And I'm like, do they respond to you? Do they email back? Do they open emails? Oh yeah, they're like loyal fans. I'm like, they're loyal customers. I'm like, then that's amazing. I'm like, I'll take your list of 100 over this person who has 10,000 but has no real connection. But why do you think, especially entrepreneurs, I hear that a lot, because I'm sure you do too, as you talk to people, or maybe not because the work that you do, but people will always say to me, entrepreneurship is lonely. Entrepreneurship is lonely. And I'm like, I'm not lonely. Why do you think there's that myth, or maybe that real reality for some people? I know this is kind of like a zinger of a question to throw at you, but
that's a great question.
Why do you think people say that phrase, entrepreneurship is lonely?
One thing I've learned with being that human connection expert, Lisa, is there's so much to unpack behind everything. Just like when people come to you and Eric, and they say, oh, this is what I want. You've got to reverse. You got to reverse engineer that. What are they really saying? That's one thing I've been really learning about connection. When people say entrepreneurship is lonely, the very first thing that pops in my mind is you're doing it wrong. And it let's amp your learning curve. That's why listening to something like this podcast, which seems really simple, this is what's value. If you take one thing away, take away the fact that you need to do this with a team. And however you define team, is that a family member? Is that a close friend? Is that a coworker? Who is that? Nobody gets to the top alone. And if they do, they don't stay there. And really, what is the top? Let's get out of that thinking. Let's look at intention instead of goal, like you and I were talking about earlier. That's so powerful. If you are feeling lonely, that is your own doing. And it is also something you can immediately rectify. Find somebody like, Lisa, I feel like I'm spending all my days by myself. And you may well. I remember my very first business, I would spend 12-hour days. I had the Little Pillow Company, my very first company, and I would spend days in my pajamas sewing pillows. And at the end of the first month, I just about lost it because I thought that this is what this was supposed to be, right?
Wow.
That's, I think, a huge part of it. Like, where are we getting the idea that you do this alone? You
Yeah.
don't. We don't do anything alone. We're social creatures. We needed each other to survive. We still need each other to survive, but in different ways now. So reach out, pick up the phone and make a call. If you need to text and say, Lisa, I got to get out of the house, or I got to get out of my, like, when are you free? Like, figure out who your people are. Make a list of 5 people who you are going to start calling and seeing where that relationship can be cultivated if you really love it. So I think if people are saying it's lonely, they're not reaching out enough. There's an epidemic in America, according to the American Psychological Association, of disconnect and loneliness. The great news is we can change that tomorrow. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you're feeling lonely, reach out to somebody, and reach out to somebody till you get a live somebody. Don't just leave a voicemail and think that that's it. You're in this for the long haul, and the long haul is remarkable and amazing and fun. And yes, it's a lot of effort and energy. And surround yourself with a posse, not a huge posse, a small posse. I love your thing of the whole 10,000 people. Think of yourself. Do you want to be in the auditorium and nobody can hear you as you're shouting at the top of your lungs? Or do you want to be next to somebody in the airplane seat or at the library, like one at a time again? So that solitude is also different than being lonely. We do need solo time, right? We really need to go deep and give ourselves that permission and those reserving the times. That's different than feeling lonely. So schedule. I love and still use hard copy paper, and I schedule this stuff because I know that if it's on the schedule, I am much more likely to make it happen. Otherwise, it's just kind of like, like grabbing gnats on a summer night. That doesn't work. You've got to put some intention behind it.
Yeah, I remember Chalene Johnson had a post. I don't know if you follow her, but I guess, I don't know if it's every year they do like a girls trip. It's like 12 or like 15 of them. And I saw the one post that she had where she was like, everybody keeps commenting like, oh, I wish I had a girl gang. I wish I had a girl tribe. Like, you're so lucky. And she was like,
this is not luck.
Like she was like, she's like, Chalene Johnson, didn't have like a girl gang. Like, she's like, I intentionally created it. Like, she's like, so if you're sitting there going like, I'm lonely, I have no friends, then you be the one.
Yes.
So don't wait for it to find you.
Right.
As we said about intention, like, get really clear about who you want to connect with, how you want to connect, what you want that to look like.
Right.
And go create that. And I mean, now with Meetup, and I mean, there's just, with the beauty of technology, there's no reason why you can't host an event or have a meetup or get together. You
are so right, Lisa. And here's a little bit more juice on that. So detachment will save your life if you understand what it is. Detachment means you have an intention, but you're not necessarily set on exactly how you get there. I think of it as lily pads or stepping stone. You're going forward, and that's what's important. Yet you're like, well, if Lisa isn't the one, dang it, there's somebody else. So let yourself know that not everybody's going to respond the same way. And that's cool. Actually, that's good. That's self-selection. And then figure out who those people are. It will take effort. Classic story I love to share. I've got a really good girlfriend, KJ. And a couple of years ago when I was going through some massive transformation and I could kind of see some of the road ahead, even though I didn't know what the circus was ahead, I could see it. And like, KJ, I'm going deep into this and I really want you to be here with me. Will you be willing to do it? Yes. She didn't even hesitate. And I got a text from her yesterday and we talk, we get together a lot. And she texted me, she said, Ginger, I just want you to know how much I love you and value our friendship. I'm like, yeah, that takes effort. That takes investment. And you've got to be okay with somebody saying, yeah, it's not really my jam. Or when you're not, pay attention to the signals. If somebody doesn't reply, if somebody doesn't, if they're changing the dates all the time, this is not about judgment, people. This is about clarity of, okay, that would have been cool if it had worked out. And there are 7 billion other people on the planet. In fact, there's people who want to be in your inner circle you don't even know yet. So that's where you start connecting. Open up a conversation at the post office. Open up a conversation at the coffee shop. We stand in lines all the time.
Yes.
That the universe is saying, hello, there's somebody next to you.
Totally. There's people, right. There's no need to be lonely. There's people everywhere.
Right. No pity party, no swirl. No. Just go forward.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And it's like, it's probably getting out of your own way a little bit too, because
Mm.
a lot of people worry
It's
about,
totally that, Lisa. Of course it is.
am I going to
Keep
sound
telling yourself the same
stupid? Are people going to
stories.
think I'm weird? All these
Right.
like internal fears, that we
Shift the
have.
self-talk. Shift the self-talk. Like I've got a couple of bulletin boards in my office. There's one right over there.
Yep.
And then I've got another one. Like I'm writing these messages. Like this is not corny. And when we talk about universe, you can call it whatever you want, whatever your source of inspiration is. Just give it a name though, because if you don't, then you're kind of like, I don't know, whatever it is, it's talking to me. No, if it's the universe, if it's God, if it's my brother, whatever it is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Put some, and then go ninja.
I remember I had a gentleman that I met actually through Brenda Richard's mastermind from Australia, and he is one of the like top coaches in the world, and he's like a fear expert. And I remember we opened, what's that?
That's interesting.
Totally, right? Yeah, he's been named like by Harvard University as like one of the top 10 coaches, like life coaches in the whole entire world, and just a genuine like beautiful human. I was actually going to have him on the podcast again, but luckily he is safe from all those fires in Australia. Sending our love and peace and joy out there to that. But so obviously we postponed the podcast when that is happening. Right. But he was sharing with me that he asked me if I knew what the number one fear, this was back in 2017, so I'm not sure 3 years later if it's changed, but he's like, what do you think the number one fear is? And I'm like, oh, it's got to be like either public speaking or heights or like spiders. Getting unfriended on Facebook.
What?
In 2017 was the number one biggest fear in the world. And that always stuck with me, that I was like, wow, like we crave that connection, and we don't, we fear that judgment. Like we're our own worst barrier. And for me, like, I don't know about you, but when people, it was a real learning curve for me to flip that the other way. Like if somebody unfriended me or somebody unsubscribed from my list, or I used to be like, what the, like, I used to take it so personal. Like, oh my God, I suck. And then I'm like, hey, they suck. Like I'm creating like all these stories in my head, right? And now I'm like, oh my God, crazy lady. Like now I'm so at peace with it. Like now I'm like, okay, like my content just doesn't serve them anymore. Or, I'm opening up a space for someone who wants to come in on my list and wants my content. Like I'm so not, I think you talked about like not being attached to like anything. Like I so don't attach my connection. Like people that want to be connected to me and people that want to go, I so don't attach any emotion. I am a little bit able to look at that black and white now, I think. And I don't know, is it a good thing or is that a bad thing to have that kind of mentality?
I think it's really good, because when you're talking about black and white, I think what you're really saying is you've removed the desire for validation, which is really, I think, what people are getting at with that. Like if you unconnect from me, or you unfriend me, or whatever the hell the mechanism is, like it's not, you're removing a connection, you're removing a validation of value, I think. And so, oh, you don't want me in here anymore. We take it personally, and we look at it the wrong way. Like, yeah, it's not, just like you said, if it's not serving them, it's not serving them. Perfect point. Yesterday, Larry, my fine husband, who's my CSO, my chief support officer, and does a lot of back end for me, he and I sent out a notice to my e-newsletter community. At one point I had over 7,000 people when I was doing something else, and it's changed over the years because I've changed, and I've given lots of people like, hey, we're going this direction, we're not doing that anymore, just so you know. We want you here if you want to be here, and if not, thanks for being here. We just sent out another one. We looked at our lowest engaged subscribers, and we sent out an email yesterday. So here's some numbers, because I think it's really important to talk about numbers. I have something around 3,800 on my list right now, from a high of over 7,000. That could freak a lot of people out. Like, okay, yeah, I want to rebuild, but I also want to clean house. So we sent this out saying, is there something we're not doing for you? Is there something else you want? Are we not addressing, and so like, please let me know. Otherwise, on the 12th, which is a week away, we're going to remove you.
Yeah.
First of all, that takes a lot of brass ovaries to be willing to say, I'm willing to let this go. Because for like all kinds of things. I'm paying for this. Like if they're not paying attention, then it doesn't serve them. Lisa, this went out to 2/3 of my list. And I had to take a deep breath at the moment, like, wow, 2,400 of that 38 are given this kind of ultimatum.
Yeah.
Well, I'm willing to do that because if this is truly not serving them, I don't want to waste my time. Right?
100%.
And so it's been 24 hours since I sent that. I'm starting to get notices of people like, yes, I want to stay on. So now Larry and I have to dig into the analytics. We're like, well, wait a minute. Some of these people have engaged. So there's some mechanical stuff. So give yourself the grace, figure it out. Hopefully you have an Eric or, hire you and Eric to help you figure out like how to read this stuff. Right.
Yes.
And it's being willing to say, you know what, this island is full of people and most of them are not my people or whatever. Good, because you're so right. There are other people waiting for you. Find those people. Go into that 100 people who are your biggest raving fans.
Yes.
And really focus on loving them up because again, the creep will happen if you take care of the right people at the core. That's connection.
That's beautiful. I totally agree. That's always a question that as well that I unpack when I get asked to be on a lot of online summits and things. And some of them have a hard, like you must have 10,000 people on your, and same with me, my list is at like 2,000 people. And again, when I was in the fitness space, same, I was around 7-8K at some point. I'm down to 2, the same since I shifted and it's okay. Permission to pivot. We talk about that a lot.
Right.
Some people that were with you before, I mean, for me, I went from health and fitness to business. So it was like not that much of a, sometimes if you pivot and it's the same kind of topic, they'll stay. Mine was a very like, I ain't talking about inflammatory foods anymore. Like I'm talking about funnels and websites. So,
I was talking about beer and now I'm talking about connection. Like,
Right. So it's like sometimes, you have to be okay with the fact that people go because you're just not speaking something they're interested in anymore. And that's okay.
Right.
And even your friends, like I look at some of my close friends that unsubscribe and it's not because like they don't love me. They're just like, I don't want your business newsletter. Like I already have so much email coming in. I love you. I just want to keep a friendship with you. I don't want to do business with you. Like you'll tell me what's going on in your life and I love that. Right. So and that taking that attachment away. But I always unpack that question. Like, do you have this number because like you want to know that I have a business that I'm actively engaged in? Or is it purely like you want to convert X amount of numbers and you want this to reach X amount of people? Because if it's like, I just want to know that you're growing your business, I'm okay with that. But if you're having like a hard stop that like, I must have X amount of people on my list, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not paying for likes. I'm not paying for lists. Like, I've always been about organically growing things the right way. And that's just like an integrity piece, I think, of how I do business. I don't know if it sounds like you're the same, right? It's more about having the right people, having the right people. What did my one friend say? The right people on the bus, having the right people in the seat on the bus.
Right.
And that's like the most important thing.
Right. And you can figure out the right people on the bus in the right seats. Because if you have that list of 10,000, who says they're all engaged? And what is the level of engagement? We want to rest everything on stats. And that just makes me berserk. Because having studied humans for 10 years in my previous endeavors, qualitative, the knowing why, the psychographics, the reasons, like why do you have 2,000 and why are you killing it? Because you know your people, you know who you want to attract, you know who you want to serve, you know your why. So while it can feel scary or like, oh my gosh, I just lost 2/3 of my list. No, you didn't. You actually gained room for those other people to come in, and they will tell you, the emails that are starting to come in of people like, don't remove me.
Yeah.
Holy buckets, Lisa. Those people have been paying attention for years. And they've never interacted. So all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, what an amazing opportunity I just created. I got one this morning that says, don't unremove me. I follow you. You matter. I'm struggling. I want some help. I'm like, and I just got chills saying that. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you think you're not having an impact on somebody, think again. So when people say you never know, I turn that around because I'm a positive person. Like you always know somebody's paying attention. So just give your full service mindset every single time. Now let's get to the reality of like, yes, we need to make money to make a living. We need to do that. We don't need to. It's not necessary. We could still stumble along. However, if you want to build the life you love, money is a tool. It's a component. You will get better when you're willing to say, look, I'm not sure. You got to stand on the mountain naked once in a while, right? Say, okay, 2,400 of you, I'm ready to let you all go. And then, wait a minute, hang on, I'm over here, like, come over here and be with me. Oh, okay, like, let's talk. What do you need?
Yeah.
What can I help you with? And whether it's me or I send them to you or whoever else, that's connectivity of service mindset first. It's critical. It's not optional, not just very important. That's the poop. That's the stuff. We have to have that in order to do anything else. So the juice I would give people is get clear on your why. If I can help you, you can reach out to me. If Lisa helps you, whoever it is, find somebody qualified though. This is not about your neighbor's cousin or a good friend, because they want you to do well. You need the loving ruthlessness, is what my former coaches calls it. You need somebody to be super honest. Lisa, I love you. We told each other this morning on the phone. We called each other twice.
Yes.
Both ways, like, that's too small. Like, oh, okay, thank you. You're right. Let's keep going. And you know that you have that support in thinking smaller or whatever that is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is so good. And one last question, even though I totally have to have you back on again, because it's
okay.
Not enough. Oh my God. If you'll come back on, I know.
Yes.
What are you most excited about? Like, we're new year, new decade, like in the connection space, in the creation. She's stretching. Those of you on podcasts that are going to be listening to this audio, you can't see the big goofy smile on her face. I love it. I love it. I say that with love. I mean that in a good way.
I know.
What do you like, because I think when you play in the headspace, and it took us a while probably to create that and get there, when you play in this abundance connection space, it's like, wow, like so big. But what are you like so excited about? Tangible thing, or maybe not even tangible thing. What are you so excited about in this year? That's here now. It's here.
I'm not good with the one thing question, but I'll pick one of the several. I have designated this year. This is the desert island. Which one music CD would you have? Like, oh crap, which is good, and it's been a lot of work getting here, right? I'm gonna two-prong this. I've got my year mapped out for the very first time, the whole year, and that is setting me up for way better growth, progress, success, whatever the hell your metrics are. Within that year of 2020, the first decade of a new year, ground zero, people, literally, it's the year of collaboration for me. You know that because we've talked about this. And I'm super pumped about thinking about things that way. So the people who say, I'm lonely, collaborate. Now, do it wisely. That could be another whole episode. But I'm excited about the collaborations. I've got a short list of collaborators. It's not like, oh, bloom, bloom, bloom. I gave myself that permission to say, who would I love to collaborate with? Let's do this. And then I put that away. And then I look at it again, like, oh yeah, that's a good person, not a collaborator. That's a good person, I don't know why I put them on the list. And then, again, it's not judgment, it's choice.
Yep.
There's a big difference between judgment and choice. Being selective as it fits your why. You and I are even talking about the events we're going to start doing together. Like, okay, that's your piece. What's my piece? Because if my piece doesn't fit, you got all my support and love. I'm going to do something different. Like, don't waste your time. So the collaborators are people who I believe in fully. I want to support them. And at the same time, I'm going to get ahead too. So we're doing this mutual ladder climb together, because that's when the teamwork makes the dream work. So you get to decide your team in the different years. So the year of collaboration, that's probably what I'm most excited about, because that forces, I don't even say forces, it plans that I am going to work with other people. I have other people counting on me. I can count on other people. That removes some of that solitude right there. And even though we're a continent apart, for example, right now, there is a true, strong depth of connection. Like, if you called me in an emergency, I'm like, yeah, what do I need to get over there? What do I need to do? And you figure that out. So the collaboration builds deeper relationships, builds more clarity. It builds stronger love and affection. And like, everything about collaboration, when they are the right collaborators, changes your world.
And that's what we want, right? We crave those experiences, that connection, that creation. And when you open yourself up to say yes, but as you said, you're selective about that yes.
Absolutely.
Amazing things can happen. Oh my goodness. So if you want to hire Ginger, you want to work with her, you want to know how to be a better connector, you're a CEO and you have a team and you need to know how to better lead your team and get your team together, and you want growth, like you just want growth in your life, connection is a tool that you need. You can't get away from that.
It's a skill and anybody can develop it, by the way. There's no vert status involved. There's no excuses. It's like, if I want to develop this skill, it's a muscle just like everything else.
I love it. It's all inclusive. I love that.
That's right.
All develop it. So www.gingerjohnson.com. I will put that in the show notes. So if you're driving or you don't got pen and paper handy, don't worry, you won't miss it. I'll make sure you get it there. Ginger, my God, I love you.
I love much. This is so much fun. And thank you for everybody for listening in and getting so much of Lisa's great juice. I feel like it was providential that we met. Glad you said hello in return in the bathroom. And I can't wait to get in person again. So thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is one of those ones you may want to go back. You may want to listen to again. I know we're filming this here in January, but you know, a couple times throughout the year, I don't know about you, but I go back to those like key skills and things. And I'm like, okay, what is going to move me along quicker? Yes. And the connection, that's why I really wanted you on here, because I was like really learning how to connect and that choice that you have, like just how to think about that. Yes. Like I said, I'll have you back and we'll dig into a little bit more of the nitty gritty, but this was just so great to get people, you know, thinking about where their head should be at with connection. So
do you want a top 10 to give to people? So top 10 connecting tactics?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. I'll write it out and I'll get the document to you and anybody who wants it from the Lisa Pezik universe. Smart people they are. Yeah.
There you go. So I will make sure I put that in the show notes as well. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. I love you and thank you for tuning in. I'll see you again next time on the Lisa Pezik Show.